Just when you thought this series was over, thanks to you guys and Thursday, we're sneaking one more in on Thursday's brand new and very first sneaker before the end of the series. So the last episode was supposed to be the very last episode of this series, but then just over a week ago, Thursday released their brand new sneakers and their very first sneakers ever. And all the comment sections, my DMs, emails, everything has just been nonstop asking me to do these shoes. So I sent them an email and a DM and never heard back. So in the Goral video, I told you guys, if you really want to see these on the channel before the end of the series, hit them up and let them know that you want to see their new sneaker on my channel. And apparently you blew up their DMs, their emails, their comment sections, because 2 days ago, they sent me an email. We're like, hey, we saw all the comments and all the DMs and we like what you do. Let's get this video done. And just to put this video in perspective, most of my sponsored videos take 2 or 3 weeks of back and forth, talking about details, negotiating prices, sending contracts and products back and forth. But with Thursday, they literally emailed me Thursday night. Today's Friday. We talked all day Friday about this video. I'm recording it today, Friday night. Tomorrow I'm spending the whole day editing because my editor, Tyler, has coronavirus. And then the video is coming out Sunday. So Thursday really went above and beyond to get this video done. So huge thanks to them, and thanks to you guys for blowing up all their comment sections and DMs and stuff, because this video really wouldn't be possible without you guys doing that. And it's really cool to have you guys behind me believing in what I do, and these companies like Thursday who believe in their products and believe in what I do enough to literally just have their stuff torn apart on YouTube. So now you know kind of how this video all came about. Let's go over the information on these shoes. So the brand is obviously Thursday. The style is the premium low top. The color I got is the cacao. They also have 4 other colors. They have a white, they have like a Horween Essex, and then a couple other ones that are pretty cool. They retail for only $129, which is crazy, and they're made in Mexico. So obviously this video is sponsored by Thursday, and because their entire business model is centered around making things as fair price as possible, they don't really do discounts and they don't even really sponsor videos like this. So I wasn't able to get a discount for you guys. But if you are interested in these boots or these shoes and you want to get a pair, be sure to click on the link in the description and check them out, and also check out their boots. The boots are kind of what made this brand who they are. And it's also a great way to say thank you to them. So now let's go over some of the information we can gather from these shoes before we cut them in half, starting with the leather. So this leather is some of my favorite leather in the world. It's tanned by Horween Leather Company in Chicago, Illinois. It's a version of their Chrome Excel leather, which is some of my favorite smelling leather as well. But instead of tanning and finishing the leather in a traditional way where you get the smooth grain pattern on top, they reverse it and do all the finishing on the fuzzy side. So that's kind of where you get this matte, unique texture to the leather, because the actual finished side, or the grain side that most people finish, is on the inside. And usually you see this in boots because it's a little more wear resistant. But for like this particular shoe, it just kind of gives it a unique, rugged look. This isn't the only company who uses Horween's leather, but I think it might be the only one that I know of that's using a finished flesh Chrome Excel in a sneaker, which is really unique. And if you couldn't tell from the name, the Chrome Excel is a chrome tanned leather. And one thing that really interested me when I first got these shoes is that the tongue is just one solid piece of leather. So usually we see a couple layers in the tongue and it's padded, but this is just one thick slab of leather. So if I put my little caliper on it, it comes in at 2.5 millimeters. So most of the other white sneakers we've seen, the thickness of leather they use is like 1.2 to 1.5 millimeters at its thickest. But this shoe is made from this leather that's almost twice as thick. And I love that. And I love that the tongue isn't padded. And this color is the only one that doesn't have a padded tongue. All the rest have a padded tongue. Now if we look at the lining leather, so another thing that's kind of unique about this shoe is it's only got a lining basically where your ankle hits. The rest of the shoe isn't lined, and that's because it's such a thick leather, it doesn't really need the lining. But the lining leather is a vegetable tan sheepskin. Next, let's look at the insert. So the insert has the same vegetable tan sheepskin on top, and it's an EVA foam, and it's a pretty dense foam actually. It's removable, so if you'd like a thicker one or a thinner one or no insole at all, you can always replace it. And another thing that I thought was really cool is that these guys use leather laces, and obviously you can swap them out if it's not your thing. But that's just another thing that kind of reminds me of how boots are built, and it's kind of par for the course for Thursday because they're a boot company. And then if we look under the insole, we can see that it's a vegetable tan leather insole or lasting board, which is really surprising for this price because the only other leather insole that we've seen was in the Gorals, and they were like $300, I think, $350. So for $129, I was really surprised to see that when I took the insert out. And then finally to the sole. So this is a dual density rubber sole. So it's 30% recycled rubber and 70% natural rubber. And what's interesting is that it's dual density in the way that the sidewall is a softer rubber, and then on the bottom, it's a harder rubber. So you have the softer rubber on the side to give it a little more flexibility, and a little bit more durable after it's creased and bent over and over and over. And then a harder rubber on the bottom so that it's a lot more wear resistant and it lasts a little bit longer. So that's kind of the general information that we can glean and figure out before cutting in half. So now it leads us to cutting them in half. Okay, I got it cut up. Let's see what's inside. So this is a surprisingly simple construction. So let's quickly go through the layers. There's only like 3 or 4 of them. But starting from the bottom, working our way up, we got the rubber outsole. Then we got a thin layer of like 1 to 2 millimeter EVA foam for the midsole. And that basically is just a layer to help absorb any sweat or any moisture and add a layer of squeak protection between the leather insole and the outsole. Then we go up to the leather insole. So it's a vegetable tan leather insole. And if we take a measurement of it, it's just under 2 millimeters. And then moving up to the upper leather, now that we got it cut in half, we can take measurements and see that it really is that 2.5 millimeter thick chrome excel leather all the way through the shoe. This leather is literally twice as thick as any other shoes that we've seen. It's a lot closer and even thicker than some of the boots that we've cut apart. And then to the counter, we've got kind of a unique counter. I've never seen this type of counter before, but in the information that Thursday sent me, they said it's a heat activated counter that's made to mold to the shape of your heel within the first 1 to 3 times you wear the shoes. It's really thin, it's really flexible, and when you accidentally step on your shoe or you bend this over and over, it's not gonna break. So if you guys get these shoes, I'm really interested to see what you think of this counter, because I've never seen this counter material before. And then for the construction, it's built in a really similar way where the upper is pulled and tucked underneath of the insole and glued to the insole and the outsole. And then we got the sidewall stitching on the side. It's really similar to the Common Projects, just simplified. You know, the Common Projects has a compressed cardboard layer, the shank, the heel is lasted with some nails, and then other than that, they're really similar. Oh, and then the Margam outsole is a little bit deeper in the heel, and this Thursday is a little bit more shallow. So you're not gonna get quite as much squish out of the Thursdays as you will in the Margam. But the overall thickness of the sole where it matters is about the same. So you might be kind of wondering, why are these $130 and all the rest of the shoes we reviewed are $200 and up, and these are made out of a premium American tanned leather? I think part of the reason is these are made in Mexico. It's cheaper to make things in Mexico. It's not as cheap as China, but it's still cheaper than having it made in the US. It is a more simple design. It doesn't have quite as many layers, so it might not take quite as long to make, and it might not be as expensive to make. The size of the company of Thursday makes a big difference too, because these guys already have established relationships with Horween, with their manufacturers, so it's a lot easier to come in with a design and plug it into their existing system and pump out a sneaker at a more affordable price. And then these guys' overall business model is a direct-to-consumer business model where they don't really sell to stores that sell them to you, they sell them straight to you guys. So that allows them to keep the prices as cheap as they can. And as for negatives or things that could be improved on these shoes, I think the shoe could benefit maybe from an extra layer in the heel, kind of like the Common Projects have with the compressed cardboard, to help reduce any high spots caused by the cells in the heel. I really like the Blake stitch construction, kind of like what we saw with the Gorals, because that makes them so much easier to resole and makes it possible to resole them. And the thing is, if you did those two things, that would raise the price of these shoes. And part of the really great thing about these shoes is they're $129. That's a fraction of the cost of the Common Projects and half the cost of most of the other shoes we've torn apart. So I think if you're keeping it in this price point, this shoe does it about as good as you can. And I'm seriously blown away that this shoe is only $129. You know, it's a Horween leather, a leather insole, a custom dual density rubber outsole. I'm completely blown away by the shoe. These guys really killed it. So that pretty much wraps it up. Let me know what you guys think. Did I miss anything in here? If you've got a pair of these already, let me know what your experiences are with them. If you're buying a pair, let me know which ones you get, and don't forget to check them out in the link in the description. And huge thanks to you guys for making this video possible by blowing up all of Thursday's social media and email and everything. And thanks to Thursday for literally making this video happen on a Thursday night and posting it on a Sunday morning. It's pretty cool that this ended up happening. So thanks for everything you guys do. I really appreciate it. On to Mocktober, and I guess we'll see you later. See ya.